I'm your host, Kelly Morgan, indie author and indie publisher. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Welcome to today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Author's Mic. I am Kelly Morgan, indie author, indie publisher, and it's Monday, and you always know it's Monday because on Mondays we have a guest. And today I'm so excited that Terraine Brown had decided to join me. We actually connected. He did a conference that I was a part of, and I'll let him tell you all about it, but that's how we connected, and I offered him the invitation to come back and share the flat platform, and he took me up on it. And so, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kelly. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here today. As you mentioned, we met through the parents' conference that I held, and you did a fantastic job. It went over well. So thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform today.
You are very welcome. So, I just want you to get into, kind of like, tell us, who you are, your journey, why you're here, and I always tell people, doesn't matter, where you are in the journey. If you haven't written a book, if you have written a book, just be sure to bring your authentic self.
Absolutely. So I started off like so many other people, I guess. Born to immigrant parents, came over to Toronto, Canada here, tried to build a life, tried to make sense of things that to me at that time was a whole bunch of nonsense. I'll be very honest with you. But flash forward a couple more years, I got very active in the church. I gave Bible readings, I gave talks, things like that. And then ultimately that led me to do more to have more talks with people, whether it was religious based or otherwise, but I gravitated more so to the otherwise when it was mental health, but the religion played a fantastic foundation for me. And then you fast forward a couple more years, I decided to start my own podcast, start my own business. I worked coaching with women because women have been very instrumental in my personal growth. And then a little bit forward into the future, I'm here with you today to have an excellent conversation.
Fantastic. So I'm interested in the podcast and the coaching that you do, how all that came into being. I think we're all coaches at one time in our lives. We may not even know it, right? But how do you take that and parlay it into a career?
Yeah, so I think we all need a voice. And to your point, I think that's why we're all coaches. Either we coach ourselves through a struggle or we ask someone to help us through a struggle. So for me, I had a lot of difficulty in my 20s making relationships work, either relationships at work, relationship within my household, relationship with my family, relationships just to even get a girlfriend. So what I needed was guidance. And unfortunately, the first woman to ever love me was my grandmother who lived a different part of the country. I couldn't always go to her because she always wasn't here. So I decided, that was in my 20s. Maybe in my 30s, there were people like me who needed that voice, that direction. So that's how I got involved, one in the podcast, two into the coaching. And a third reason was I realized that my issues weren't unique to me. There's a thousand, 10,000, even a million other terrains going through something similar. Different personality style, but definitely something similar. So that's how I got involved in all of this.
It's funny because everybody that I talk to in this space, either they've written a book or not, always seem to want to be able to take their story so that it will help the next person, right? Kind of paying it forward. And that's kind of what I hear you saying through your experiences and the things that you went through. Is your coaching only for women?
It worked out that way. Initially, it's supposed to be for men. Um, but the conversations I had with men is that they want to be more on the podcast side. So they want to tell their story and then walk away, where the women want to tell their story and build a tribe. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay, let me understand this a little bit more. So as I began to talk to women more, I began to understand that their needs were definitely different than men. You hear that online, but men, women out there, we're the same human beings, right? But when it comes to what we want and things like that, we're definitely different. And that's where ultimately I took that information and I said, I know that I'm here to help women because women have helped me. And one day I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it will turn into an excellent book.
So, yeah, that was going to be my next question. You've had all these great experiences. You've probably coached a lot of people. You've probably learned a lot of things. When are you going to take all of that information and compile it into a book?
Ooh, now you're getting top secret information right here. Well, they always say don't tell your plans before you actually complete them, but Kelly and I, we have such a good relationship and friendship. So I want to say that is one of my 2026 goals
Okay.
to put it into print because I've developed a model now and now I want to explain it. And I'm like, okay, I have enough stories, I have enough experiences to say, okay, I think I could put it into print. So obviously the names will be changed, but I think I'm going to start pulling from my experiences, not only internally with myself, but those who have helped.
So, do you think that that book will turn into mini books?
I sure hope so. Like I look at it as because you could do a chapter on every woman in my life. Not that I'm a whore. I'm talking about the people I've helped, right? So yeah, it's definitely because I know you've experience there, and I know a few other people, and I read quite a bit. And I think personal stories are the ones that resonate, especially when they're relatable. And I think we all have I think my story can relate to a lot of people, especially those who've experienced loss of identity or loss of a person or who grew up without both parents in the household, let alone one. So yeah, I think it could turn in many books.
So, let's talk about the podcast. I'm interested. How did the podcast start, and what's the premise of the podcast?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second question first. So it started through I wanted to just give a voice to those who are experiencing mental health issues. Um, the first question, how they got started, sorry, what it's about is just I needed a release personally. I needed a place to say, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it. So I wanted to give a space for men because I think men were underutilized or underappreciated in that space. And then when I started getting to it, I was like, okay, mental health knows no gender, sex, color, otherwise. So that's what the podcast is about, and that's how it got started. And I'm excited that people continue to listen to it. I'm also excited that I've taken the experiences of those people I've spoken to and I've actually helped others as well.
Cool. And so, when we connected, you were putting together a whole conference. How does that even happen? Like, did you just wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to put together this conference? I mean, how does that even happen?
Yeah, so October 2024, my grandmother who raised me, she passed away. And it was really hard because for the first 5 years of my life, this is someone that raised me. She was my mom and she was my dad. So I thought to myself, okay, how can I honor her and all those other parents in the world, whether they're step parents or blended families? So I thought about how about a 2 day conference that celebrates Mother's Day, which was a couple weeks before, and Father's Day, which it lands on. So that's how I came about it, just so I could honor not only my grandmother, but all the hard work of the parents out there, regardless of their family makeup.
Yeah, I think that being a part of it was very, very cool. You put a lot of work into it, and so I think it's great. Is it something that is always available? Like people can go back and replay it?
Yeah, yeah. So if you do a search for the Behind the Shades show, it's actually listed there in all parts. So like for example, your parts up there and things like that. And at this point, I want to make it an annual event. I think parents should be honored every day. That's just me personally. But every year, I think people can get together and say, "Hey, let's celebrate some of the amazing things that these parents are doing out there."
Absolutely. And I've always wondered, like this conference that you put together was virtual. This was the first one?
It was the first parents conference. The second one I've done all together, but I did a first one for something else.
Very, very cool. And so tell me, Terraine, like what is in store for the future? I want to know more about the coaching business so we can let those know who are interested, but I'm also interested in like what does the future look like for you? We know we got the book for 2026, but what else is, what is the future of the podcast and you and like what's on the horizons?
Yeah, so for the coaching, I've taken it to the next level. So what I've done is I said, okay, I want to find a way to help women out there. So I started thinking about how can we help women soar? So SOAR is an acronym for start, stop, um, start, stop, obtain, acknowledge, and then relinquish. So it's essentially what is it that you believe is holding you back? So what do you want to stop doing? So women come to a train, I want to stop feeling heartbreak. I want to stop being used. I want to stop being abused. I want to stop being ghosted. I'm like, okay,
Mm.
ghosted sucks. I understand, right? So that's what I helped them doing. Then I said, okay, all these things you mentioned that you want to stop doing, what's that you want to start? So, okay, you know what? I want to start finding love. I want to start feeling value. I want to start being appreciated. What I found, and I'll share this with you, Kelly, is a lot of women as they get older, because my clients are usually 40, 45 and older, they still think, for whatever reason, I know society plays a part, that their value is attached to their looks and their age.
Mm.
So where I get women involved, I say every 10 years, your source of value should change. In your 20s, of course, your skin is as shiny as it's going to be. It's as tight as it's going to be. It's as soft, right? It's like silk, right? Fresh out of the store, right? It's like new silk. But in your 30s, you want things about you to be more appreciated. Maybe it's your behavior. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's the children you have. Maybe it's the type of mother you want to become. And then in your 40s, same thing. So that's where I want to start ramping that up and get more women involved because women are starting to buy into it. And I think I can help, especially women who are later in years.
Yeah, I would agree. Society tells us that our worth is tied to numbers, age, and then it's tied to weight, and it's also tied to how you look. And, you have to really be good with who you are to be able to push past that and keep going because sometimes that those barriers can stop you from doing the things that you want to do. And that's funny that you say that because, yeah, as a woman, yeah, I can, that totally resonates with me. I can see how a lot of us can think that because that's what we're told. That's what we're told from little, from children, from babies, especially girls, you're nothing unless you have somebody in your life. You got to grow up, get married, have kids. That's how you find your worth. And that's not necessarily true for all of us.
I agree 100%. I break it down to say that women have the burden and the blessing of pretty, their looks, and men have the burden, the blessing of performance. And I think if we can separate that and say that, okay, it's good to have these things if you do have these things, but it shouldn't define you, especially as you get older, because you have so much more to value than the wrapping on the gift. So
Mm.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and we're so much more wiser. I think we're at the age when you're in your 40s, you're done proving because now you know, right? Now you come into the world of knowing, and that's a whole nother type of power.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like you look at that's a pivotal point, right? Like you look at all the studies and the research, that's usually when you're either coming out of a relationship that no longer serves you, coming out of a job that's no longer benefiting you, and you're like, okay, how am I going to add meaning to my life in a different way? So that's a perfect age, regardless of what people may say that, well, love is for those in their 20s, success is for those in their 20s, happiness. I'm like, no, happiness, love, peace of mind. Right? These are things that have no expiry. You can be 60, 70, or even 1,000 years old and still find these things.
Agreed, agreed. So, Train, if we wanted to find you, if we wanted to follow you, check you out, how do we find you?
Absolutely. So if you go to www.behindtheshades.com, so that's shades plural, you can find everything there from my coaching to my podcast to my everything there. And for those who are listening, if you come over there from this podcast, you get a free session with me. Just quote the podcast. We can definitely help you out and go through there. Or if you want to email me, it is behindtheshadesinterviews@gmail.com.
And I'll make sure to have all that information in the description. So if you do decide to hit him up on the free coaching session, be sure to tell him you got it from the author's mic. Right? All right, Terraine, thank you so much for being a guest. Let me do my laundry list of things before I let you go. Number one, if you're an author and you want to share this platform with me, it's very easy. The mic would be yours. You just go to the website, go to the Be a Guest link, fill out the information, boom, you are a guest. It is literally that simple. If you are wanting to start your writing journey, don't really know where to start, I got you. There's a guide on my website, 44 pages, totally free. Go get it, start your journey. If you want to support me, I've got 2 books out there. You can get them from me, my website, or you can get them wherever good books are sold. But if you get them from me, I'll sign them. I got some free goodies, and I will even ship those bad boys to you for free. And then lastly, if you are an author or a reader and you're looking for a book club to join as a reader and a book club to pitch as an author, we got one. It's called the IRS, the Indie Reader Society. All the information is on the website. So, Terraine, I've just got one more question for you. If you could give us some advice, women, I guess, or really anybody, on just how to maybe navigate the world today, because it's a crazy, 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 crazy place that we live in, right? And just sometimes I think some of us just don't, we kind of lose our way, don't really know how to navigate. Like, how do we maybe get ourselves grounded so that we can continue to move forward?
Absolutely. So that's a beautiful question. First thing, stop people pleasing.
Mm,
That is the biggest thing. Stop people pleasing. Your expectation should be your expectation, not the expectation of others. So that may mean that you don't have a relationship with your family, your friends, your family member. You may have to do a spring cleaning. You know that dirty underwear in your closet? That is bad relationships. Go in there, take it out because you've been ignoring the smell for so long and get rid of it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is make sure your value is tied into things that are more behavior in nature than physical. What do I mean? I mean that who you are, what type of person you want to be. These are things that's going to be value that's going to last and stand the test of time. And the third and final thing is be aware of the energy of the people around you. Don't mistake in loyalty for good quality of people. What does that look like? Some people think that just because they've been friends with someone for 10 years, they got to remain their friends, even though they're abusers, kidnappers, and cheaters, right? So make sure that the people that you keep around you are helping you to meet the or to become the person that you want to create because we only have a short period of life time on this earth. Don't waste your time watering dead plants.